I'm Charlotte Charlie Winwood, 33 years old, the youngest daughter in a Richmond family that learned early how to speak politely while hiding its bruises. I drive Uber at night, not because it's a dream, but because it keeps the lights on and gives me an excuse to stay away from people who've always decided my story for me. My siblings grew up loud, certain, protected. I grew up small, observant, the one everyone talked over and blamed when things went wrong. I learned how to survive by staying quiet, by not asking questions, especially about family. Most days I tell myself that distance is peace, that the past is settled and buried. But the truth is, I've always felt like an outsider in my own bloodline, like there was a room in our history I was never allowed to enter. I didn't know that door was about to be kicked open on a random night shift, when an old man slid into my back seat, stared at me through the mirror, and asked a question that shouldn't have made sense at all. The ride pinged at 11:43 p.m. Claremont Senior Living, outskirts of Northside, 5 miles from where I grew up, close enough to smell memory. I adjusted my rearview mirror. My eyes were heavier than my thoughts, and that was saying something. A red-eye ride like usual. Boring. Quick. The front doors of Claremont hissed open. He was already outside. Tall, older, back straight like someone who used to bark orders. He wore a long tan coat, too clean for a nursing home. Thin gloves. Fedora. No umbrella despite the fog. He didn't move like the others. Didn't glance at his phone. Didn't ask for help. Just opened the back door. Slid in. Closed it slowly. Silence. Evening, I said, offering the tone I save for polite passengers. Northside Drive, right? He didn't answer. I glanced into the mirror. He was staring at me, eyes fixed, not blinking. His mouth was slightly open, like he forgot to finish a sentence. Sir. Nothing. Then, finally, was that your family? I felt the words before I understood them. I blinked. What? The photo. On your dashboard. That's your family. I looked down. There, wedged between my dashcam and the console, was a small, square photo. I hadn't seen it before. It hadn't been there. The hairs on my neck stood up. I picked it up with 2 fingers. It was old. A faded Polaroid. A woman and a child standing in front of a yellow brick house. The woman's face blurry, the child's smile crooked. The woman looked like... No, that wasn't possible. I wasn't carrying this. I didn't put it there. The old man leaned closer from the back seat. You look just like her. I set the photo down carefully, as if it might burn through the console. Who are you? My voice cracked. Do you know them? He said nothing for a moment. Then, calmly, I've been searching for that woman for over 2 decades. And now... He looked at me through the mirror again. Now I've found you. I turned the wheel too sharply onto Monument Avenue. The tires screeched. My chest felt caged. You're mistaken, I said. I don't know them. That's not. I never said her name. He smiled. But you said them. I braked at the light too hard. The belts locked. The car jolted forward. I couldn't breathe. Look, I said. I don't know who the hell you are or what game this is, but you. He lifted something from his coat pocket, a leather wallet, opened it slowly. Inside was another photo, this one laminated. Same woman, standing with another adult. Same yellow brick house. Behind it, a folded newspaper clipping. He handed it forward without touching me, just held it. I didn't take it. The red light blinked once, twice. Then the car behind me honked. I punched the gas. The photo on my dash slid sideways. My pulse screamed. He leaned forward again. I could feel his breath. She didn't die in that fire. That's what they told everyone. But I saw her. I saw her walk away with a child. That child looked like you. That photo wasn't mine, but somehow it had my face. We sat in silence for a mile, the old man's voice still echoing in the back of my skull. She didn't die in that fire. I saw her walk away with a child. Every red light blinked slower. Every breath felt borrowed. The photo stayed on my dash like it belonged, but I couldn't remember ever touching it. I kept my eyes on the road, but my hands shook on the wheel. "You've made a mistake," I said. "That woman isn't my family." He didn't flinch. "Then why do you look just like her?" I gripped the steering wheel tighter. Coincidence. Coincidences are God's way of staying anonymous. I exhaled. Sharp. Shaky. "You think quoting bumper stickers makes you right?" He leaned back, still watching me. "You said them, not her. That means part of you already knows." I slammed the brakes at a stop sign. Too hard. The seatbelt cut across my chest. A horn screamed behind us. I didn't care. "Get out," I said. "Ride's over." "You need to see something first." "No," I snapped. "I don't need anything from you." He reached into his coat again. I tensed. But it wasn't a weapon. It was a folded paper. Yellowed. Torn at the edges. Newspaper print. 2003. A headline caught my eye. "Mother and child presumed dead in Yellowwood fire." He handed it to me. I didn't want to take it, but I did. The ink bled from age, but the photo was clear enough. A woman with her back to the camera. Long hair. Carrying a toddler. The address below the image. 216 Yellowwood Lane. It wasn't a name, but it wasn't nothing. I read it twice. I had been there. Once. I was 7. A birthday party. And a fire truck. The memory surfaced like a bruise. Mom grabbing my arm. Running. Her voice sharp. "Don't look. Don't you ever look at that house." Cut. I pulled into a gas station lot and parked under a flickering light. The buzzing from the bulb made the air feel charged. I turned in my seat. Finally faced him. "Who are you really?" He stared at me with the kind of patience that pisses you off. I was a friend of Camilla's. Before everything. I blinked. "Who?" "Camilla Rowan. Your mother's sister." "No," I said, immediate, instinctive. "She died before I was born." "She didn't. She just disappeared. Like your mother wanted her to." My skin burned. My hands went cold. "You're saying my mom lied?" "I'm saying your mother survived something she didn't want anyone to remember." I shook my head. "This is insane. My mom's dead. So's Camilla. That fire wasn't what they told you." Cut. I stepped out of the car. Needed air. Needed space from him. But the parking lot wasn't empty. A black SUV sat idle across the pumps. Tinted windows. No license plate. Engine running. The driver wasn't moving. I looked down at the photo in my hand. Then up again. The SUV was gone. No sound. Just gone. Back in the car, Elias hadn't moved. He looked at me like he knew I saw it too. "You were never supposed to find out," he said. "Then why now?" He smiled. Sad. "Because the past never stays buried. It just waits." I checked the app. Still tracking the ride. "Where were you going again?" I asked, voice low. He nodded. 216 Yellowwood Lane. My stomach dropped. "That house is ashes." He didn't blink. "Not everything burned." I stared at the GPS pin. It hovered right above the old neighborhood. Condemned. Fenced off. A ghost town swallowed by silence. I put the car in drive. We didn't speak the rest of the way. When I turned onto Yellowwood Lane, the headlights lit up what was left. Cracked pavement, old foundation stones, and a stop sign with a bullet hole through the middle. I parked. He opened his door. "You coming?" he asked. "No," I said. He nodded. "Fair." He stepped into the dark, vanishing between broken brick and wet grass. I sat for a long time, engine running. The wind moved something outside, a paper, maybe, or a footstep. I reached for the photo again, held it up to the windshield. If that baby wasn't me, then who the hell have I been? I drove back in silence. No music, no calls, Just the sound of my tires on wet pavement and my brain cracking open like glass under heat. The photo still sat on my dash. A ghost I couldn't shake. Elias had vanished into the ruins like he belonged there. No goodbye. No directions. No answers. Just that name, Camilla, and a fire that refused to stay buried. I turned off my app, pulled into my lot and parked. The lights in my building flickered, like always. I stared up at my window and waited for something. Movement. Shadow. A watcher. Nothing. Still, I scanned the lot 3 times before going up. Habit now. Inside, my apartment was as I left it, but somehow colder, like someone had walked through right before me. Not messy, just touched. I locked the door. Deadbolt, chain bar. Then the window latches. One by one. People don't get paranoid when the world lies to them. They get paranoid when it starts telling the truth. Cut. 3 hours later. I was still awake, cross-legged on the floor. Every light on. The newspaper unfolded in front of me. Camilla Rowan. No middle name. No obituary. Just smoke and silence. I Googled her. Nothing. Then I searched the address. 216 Yellowwood Lane. More articles. Mostly paywalled archives. A fire in 2003. Declared accidental. No arrests. No survivors. Except one blog. Buried. Written by someone named Maggie V. She lived on Yellowwood Lane. Claimed she saw a woman carry a baby away from the blaze, but no one believed her. Her last post ended with, "I saw her. I swear to God I did. And that child wasn't crying. She looked back at me." My blood iced over, because I had that exact memory. Not the woman, but the look back, the tilt of the girl's head, the shape of her hand pressed to the glass. Cut. Morning. I hadn't slept. I drove to the address listed under Maggie VS blog bio. A rusted duplex outside the fan district. Paint peeling. A hand-painted sign on the door. No solicitors. No exceptions. I knocked anyway. Silence. Then creaking. An eye through the peephole. "Who sent you?" the voice rasped. "No one. My name's Charlie Winwood. The door yanked open. She was older than the photo in her blog. Hair gray, wiry. Smoking through a cracked window behind her. Eyes sharp. Watching everything. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "I know," I said. "But I saw the photo. The one you wrote about. I have it." Her hand twitched. She pulled me inside fast. The inside smelled like lavender and old cigarettes. She sat. Lit another. I told them. Cups. City Hall. The paper. They said I was lying. Crazy. Called it trauma. "Were you?" I asked. She stared at me. Exhaled smoke slow. People don't lie about what burns. They lie about what survives. I handed her the photo. She held it like a relic. Her hands shook. She carried that baby like it was the only thing she had left. But that child, she looked up. That child looked back like she knew me. Like she knew something I didn't. She pointed to the photo. "That you?" I didn't answer. "I don't remember," I said. "That's worse," she muttered. Then she told me. About the night of the fire. About a black SUV parked outside the house 10 minutes before the first flames. About how 2 men entered. About how only one came out and ran. About a neighbor who fell down the stairs the week after. And how Camilla was declared dead with no DNA confirmation. "Bodies don't just vanish," she said. "They're vanished." She handed me an envelope. Inside, a copy of a police report. Filed, then sealed. Marked. Rowan C. Protective custody recommended, not executed. My throat closed. Maggie, what was Camilla into? She stared at me, then whispered. She knew something about your mother. Something that wasn't meant to survive. A knock at the door. Loud. Fast. Maggie froze. I stood. Another knock. 3 times. A pause. Then one. Her face drained. That's a code, she whispered, from when we were all told to shut up. She backed away. I moved to the window, peeked through the edge of the curtain. Black SUV. Engine running. Same one from the gas station. I turned to tell Maggie, but she was gone. Bedroom door swinging. Window open. Curtains fluttering. I grabbed the photo and ran. By the time I got to the street, the SUV was gone, but someone had left something under my windshield. A burned page from a children's book. One sentence circled in red. Some things you forget, but some things remember you. I didn't go home. I drove. Nowhere specific. Just loops around the city, burning gas and time, hoping the weight in my chest would loosen. It didn't. The children's book page sat on my passenger seat like a landmine. Burnt edges. That single circled sentence. Some things you forget, but some things remember you. Someone had been watching. Again. They wanted me to know. Wanted me to feel it. I stopped near an old pharmacy and sat in the parking lot under a broken floodlight. It flickered like a nervous tick. I gripped the steering wheel so tight my fingers went numb. Then my phone vibrated. Blocked number. I froze. It rang once. Twice. I let it go. Voicemail. Then a text. Just one line. Check Nolan's file. She lied about everything. I stared. Nolan. That name punched the breath out of me. Nancy Nolan, my mother's old attorney. Family lawyer for 2 decades. Estate handler when Mom died. Cold. Polished. The kind of woman who could sue your soul into silence. She never liked me. Always called me Charlotte, never Charlie. Said it like a punishment. I called her office. Straight to voicemail. I opened my laptop. Drove to the library's public Wi-Fi. There, in the dark corner of the archives room, I typed her name into a state bar database and found something I wasn't supposed to. Disbarred. 6 months ago. For document tampering. Estate fraud. Unethical withholding of inheritance information. Her last known address was a P.O. box. Her license had been flagged in connection to an ongoing sealed federal inquiry. My stomach flipped. I checked the estate file for my own records. The ones she gave me after Mom died. The summary was thin. Too thin. No listed will. No breakdown of assets. Just a closed due to insufficient claimants stamp. Bull. My mother had property. She had accounts. Jewelry. Bonds. I remember the safe. In the house. The code only she and Nolan knew. And it was never mentioned in the records. Someone had buried it. Cut. I drove to my brother's place. He lived in a gated suburb like every other successful older sibling who never quite forgot I existed. "Why are you here?" he asked, groggy, half-dressed, standing at his door like I was the ghost. "Mom's lawyer lied," I said. "She got disbarred for fraud." He blinked, and she sealed the estate. Claimed there was nothing. That's a lie. Jesus, Charlie, it's 3 a.m. I shoved the folder into his chest. He looked at it, didn't open it. "This again," he muttered. "What do you mean again?" He paused, then sighed. 3 years ago I got a letter from a woman named Camilla. Claimed she was Mom's sister. Said she had proof we were owed more. That Nolan buried the truth. I gave it to Nolan. She said the woman was delusional. "You never told me." "You were already spinning out. What would you have done with it?" "I would have listened." "She was dead, Charlie. There was nothing left to find." I stepped back. "You knew and stayed quiet." "I knew and trusted the woman Mom trusted." "No," I said. "You knew and didn't want to deal with it." He didn't argue. Because he couldn't. "Where's the key?" I asked. "What key?" "To Mom's safe." He stiffened. "Gone." "Gone where?" "Nolan took it. After the funeral. Said it was part of the closure." My hands curled into fists. You gave her access to everything. He didn't deny it. Cut. I left. He didn't stop me. Back in my car, I stared at the folder again. At the empty inventory. The signatures. One of them was mine. I never signed this. The date was 4 days after the funeral. I was out of the country. In Mexico. My heart pounded. Forgery. I drove to the courthouse. The estate records were public. At least what was left of them. I requested the file under Mom's name. The clerk handed me a red folder. Inside pages. Dozens. 2 wills. One old. One updated. Same notary. Different executor. Camilla Rowan. I blinked hard. She was listed as the legal executor of my mother's estate. Filed in 2003. Invalidated in 2021. By Nolan. Without a court hearing. Which is illegal. Camilla never died. She was erased. And someone wanted her to stay that way. I stepped outside. The courthouse steps were empty. Fog crawled across the pavement like smoke. My phone buzzed again. Same blocked number. This time. Too close. Don't trust Elias. I spun around. Nothing. But I knew someone was there. Watching. Listening. And they weren't alone anymore. I didn't know how long I'd been driving. Streetlights, smeared like tears on glass. The city felt wrong. Watching. Waiting. My phone buzzed again. Blocked number. I ignored it. Let it die in silence. Then another text came. You're in over your head. I stopped at a red light. The message glowed bright against my reflection. Every mirror is a battlefield, I thought. And sometimes the enemy is the one standing behind you. I flicked on the radio. Static. Then a voice. Sometimes the only way forward is through fire, not around it. I switched it off. Advice you give when there's no one left to listen. My hands trembled. I needed answers. I drove to the address Nolan used as her business office. A glass-fronted suite in a sterile business park. Empty. Dark windows like dead eyes. No receptionist. No file cabinet. No records. Just a secure keypad by the door. I pulled out the paper folder I'd taken from the courthouse. The wills, the signatures, the name Camilla Rowan handwritten across page after page. A cold realization hit. Camilla hadn't just been my aunt. She was meant to be the executor, to control everything, until someone had erased her, not just from life, but from every official trace. I rested my forehead against the glass door. Then I saw it. A reflection. Not mine. Movement behind the next suite's frosted glass. A figure pacing. I walked over. Tapped the glass. They stopped. I saw a silhouette. Tall. Broad shoulders. And then a hand gripping the glass slide door. The handle twisted. Locked. I pulled my phone out. Called Elias. Straight to voicemail. I left a message. I'm at Nolan's old office. Something's here. Someone who shouldn't be. No answer. I tried again. Voicemail. Then I heard the door behind me click. Slow. Deliberate. I turned. And the figure stood there, unmasked in the hall light, eyes gleaming. I've been expecting you, he said. Not Elias. Not someone I knew. But someone who knew me. Too well. He smiled calm. Too calm. Charlotte Winwood, he said. Not Charlie. The official name. The one in the forged will. I swallowed. You shouldn't be here, I said. Oh, but I am, he replied. He stepped forward. Lights hummed above. My breath caught. I tried to back up. His foot blocked mine. You're meddling in things that were never meant to be seen, he said. Like that fire. And Camilla. And your mother. I blinked. You know about Camilla? He didn't answer. Instead, he pulled something from his coat. A photo. My face. As a toddler. Standing beside a smaller version of the woman from Yellowwood Lane. Then he flipped it. On the back. She tried to save you. My heart dropped into my stomach. He smiled again. Not comforting. Predatory, he said. Your mother didn't just hide the truth. She sold it. I didn't move. My mind raced. I had questions, but my throat was thick. I whispered, more to myself than him. The wound is the place where the light enters. Another phrase I'd heard once. Not sure where, but right now it felt like a warning. He tilted his head. You're not going to survive this unless you let go of what you think is your past. Suddenly he lunged. Not a swing. A forced shove. I hit the glass door. Pain shot through my hip. I fell. The glass cracked. A loud, hollow crack like a gunshot. I gasped. He was over me instantly. Hand on my wrist. Cold. Unforgiving. Then the phone in my hand lit up. Another message. Blocked number. Stop digging, or we bury someone else. And beneath it, one word I recognized too well. Elias. My eyes snapped up. My attacker's face. Intent. And then almost too quiet. You don't know the half of it. I tried to pull free. He tightened his grip. And he whispered, right next to my ear. Your mother didn't just burn her past. She burned herself to protect something bigger than you can imagine. I choked back a scream. And in that moment, I knew the fire wasn't the end. It was the beginning. For all of us. And whoever was out there wasn't done with me yet. My lungs burned. Rain slapped my face. The river was a black mirror. I stood on cracked concrete, soaked, staring at the warehouse where it all began. The place my gut screamed was the key. My phone buzzed. One new message. Blocked number again. Don't trust anyone. I dropped the phone. It hit the ground. Screen cracked. Just like me. I knew one thing then. Nothing was random. Every spark, every fire, every lie had a rhythm. They all led here. I stepped forward. The warehouse door hung crooked, like a jaw ready to bite. Inside, shadows moved. The air smelled of rust and regret. I pulled the photo from my jacket, the one of the woman and child. I traced the curve of the brick house with my thumb. A memory churned. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good people to do nothing. Words I'd heard once, floating like ash in my brain. Maybe Mom heard them too. Maybe that's why she fought in silence. Footsteps. Slow. Measured. I spun. A silhouette stepped into the light. Not Elias. Not Nolan. But Maggie V. Older. Tired. Alive. My head snapped. Maggie. I said. She didn't answer. She tilted her head toward the far corner. A figure sitting in a folding chair. Hands bound. Head down. I approached. Heart thudding like a warning drum. Then he looked up. Camilla. Alive. My breath stopped. Cold. Wet. Impossible. She wasn't dead. Not really. Just hidden. Protected. Or maybe imprisoned. I couldn't tell. I dropped to my knees beside her. Camilla, I whispered. Her eyes locked onto mine. No warmth. No relief. Just a story too heavy to carry. They lied, she said. Her voice thin. But they weren't wrong. I frowned, confused. Before I could ask, Maggie spoke from behind me. They needed a reason to hide you. I turned. What do you mean? They didn't want the world to know what your mother found. My pulse skittered. What did she find? Camilla closed her eyes, then opened them, burning with something fierce. The ledger. The lights cut on. Harsh. White. Blinding. A group stepped from the shadows. Men in suits. Badges. Not federal. Corporate. They walked like they owned the place, like they controlled the world and everything beneath it. One held a briefcase. Silver. Heavy. Intentional. Camilla's gaze followed it. They'll kill us all to keep it. I didn't understand. Not yet. Then the man with the briefcase stepped forward and clicked it open. Inside, a hard drive. Label scratched, but legible. Rowan Ledger. My breath stuck. Camilla whispered. It has every transaction, every property transfer, every falsified will, every name they erased. The corporate man smiled. A family secret worth burying, he said. No, I said. It's justice. He laughed. Cold. They think justice is convenient, he said. And dead people don't speak. He gestured. 2 guards stepped toward us. I moved. Instinct. No hesitation. I lunged for the hard drive. Glass shattered. The briefcase clattered. Camilla screamed. Shots fired. Concrete. Dust rained. Idove. Hit the ground. Ears ringing. Heartbeat pounding like artillery. Then silence. Only rain. Only the river. I opened my eyes. Camilla was down. Maggie was gone. The guards fleeing. And in my fist the hard drive. I crawled toward Camilla. Her breath was shallow. But there. Fighting. I pressed the hard drive into her hand. Finish it, I said. She blinked once. Her grip tightened. And then she smiled like a candle lit in the dark. Outside, sirens. Closer now. Real. Not the fake warnings. Not the texts. Real. Justice was coming. Later. The rain had stopped. The river calm. Nothing like before. I stood on the bank, soaked in victory and grief. Camilla was safe in witness protection. Protected by laws that finally mattered. The ledger had gone to the feds. Nolan's name was cleared. Posthumously, but her complicity exposed. The corporate vultures? Arrested. Trials pending. Justice slow but real. I looked at the sky. Gray, fading to blue. I whispered to no one. In the end, truth isn't what was buried. It's what refuses to stay underground. A breeze brushed my cheek. I tasted salt, rain and tears, and something like hope. My phone buzzed. A number I didn't recognize. No block. A text. You did it. Simple. Clean. Final. I exhaled. And I believed it. I had survived. The wounds would always be there. Reminders that truth cuts deep. But I was here. Not as the unknown child in a photo. Not as a ghost in my own life. But as someone who chose to see the fire for what it was. Not the end, but the beginning. I stepped back from the river. And walked into the sunrise.